The first device we're going to be using is thermal imaging. So why would I want thermal imaging inside of a ghost hunt? Come on, guys, it's interactive.
You want to be able to detect energies.
Not energies, but
Heat.
not heat. Cold. We're looking for cold spots, literally. So it is the old adage, and it is a true science. So this is a FLIR thermal imaging camera. This is the real deal. This is not a phone app of any kind. So this hardware is great, but the software sucks. We're going to be doing a few starts and stops because if we record for too long, we're going to lose footage. The software just is horrible. So I'll splice all of those videos together, the mini videos, and you'll have one long thermal imaging video. But what are we looking for on here? You should all be able to see me on there, right? But that's, well, I guess the physical thing is, yeah, cold spots. But what does a cold spot look like? I'm red, orange, and yellow because it's blue and black, right? So we're looking for them to either take shape or to start moving on their own. Like, that's the gist behind this camera. I also have this set up with a blue dot that's bouncing around the screen to show you the coldest spot in the frame at that moment. So again, it will bounce around and it does have the temperature next to it. I look for about 15-degree temperature drops to either kind of like see if it's an anomaly or not, and then we're always going to try to debunk things first. Again, not everything is going to be supernatural or paranormal, and we'll always do some kind of proof session to go along with it. So with this one, Clay, you're kind of the silent guy so far, so this one's actually going to go to you. I'm going to stop the video.
This been serious, isn't he?
All right, welcome to technically your first space. We only spent 30 minutes together so far, right? So this is a parking lot. Congratulations, guys, you made it. What is this place? This place used to be something. It used to be the Eliza and Charles Pinckney mansion site. Layout of the land. The mansion sat in the front of this space where those cars are parked facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with the Five Church restaurant and came all the way across. And we're standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. So, all of you communication people, because I think I put a communication device within every pair, we are not going to get questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the Big Red Barn. This will be the first space where I withhold information purposely to make sure you have a genuine experience. So, with that said, who the heck were Charles and Eliza Pinckney? They had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 Chucks, in case you lost count of those 3. Now, with that said, the son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. That's a pretty big deal for us, but I hate politics more than everybody here. I can make that promise right now. So we're going to talk about Eliza. Eliza married Charles, her husband, at a very young age according to today's standards, not the colonial times that she came from. The reason I bring this up is because her husband was over double her age when they married. If you ask her how old she was, you're not going to hear numbers like 12 and 14 of when she got married. So again, think of today's standards. Kind of a creepy age gap, by the way, in the colonial times and in today's standards, just to kind of give you that inclination. But she married him because her father, who was over in England, thought he was dying. And he's trying to bring all of his children home one last time. Well, Eliza didn't believe he was dying. So instead, she gets married in 1744. You don't get married in 1744 for a green card, because we're not even a country yet. So she did marry him out of love, and no, there was no foul play or any affair. So don't poke the bear on that one for those of you with spirit boxes, because it didn't happen. Now, she was correct. Her father didn't die right away. Instead, he starts sending her gifts from England, to this space where we're standing right now. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. You guys have been in town for at least an hour that I know of. You've seen the word indigo somewhere, I promise you. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. Some of you are wearing it tonight. So, when she got it, she didn't know what to do with it. She had to learn from her slaves how to keep it cultivated. Obviously, it's not always warm here, but she figured it out. She moved it to a cash crop plantation near the Stono River south of here and gets a hold of her father and says, the rice plantations we have are going downhill. We're going to make a killing with the indigo. And now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times. Something absolutely unheard of for the 1700s. Now, that's the kind of weird, boring business stuff of Eliza. Let's get into the weird shit. That's why everybody's here. So I'm going to go through kind of a series of questions with all the communication devices. So with yours back there, Susan, because it's such a new device, you're going to have to cherry pick. Just because I don't have a set of questions for that one just yet. An easy one would be Eliza's initials, and I'm going to go through kind of what those are so you know what you're looking for with that guy. So with yours, I want you to go after the children. I already told you there was one. His name was Charles. You can ask how many children she had and what their names were. Don't ask anything else. The reason why I'm asking her not to ask anything else, there's a tragedy there. This is a very prominent English woman. If we piss her off, all activity will stop. Which, speaking of which, have we gotten any numbers on that guy yet? No, nothing at all. So if we were getting numbers, they would have stopped if we started poking that bear. I will let you know what that tragedy is before we leave the space. So those are your two very simple questions at this point. If you're getting bored with those, we'll kind of cherry pick off of what else we have going on in this location. Nick, with yours, Eliza's death. How old she was when she died, what she died from, where she's buried, what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So again, these are obviously non-yes and no questions. So Laura, with yours, because you have the word list, it does give us a lot of things, so I'm kind of leaving the marriage question to you, like how old she was, because we will get numbers on there as well. But we have two Elizas that we're dealing with in this location. Charles married two women named Eliza. Kind of a jerk move or very smart, depending on who you are. Now, they both have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. So obviously with yours back there, Susan, you would be looking for ELP, like that's a big initial. But here's the funny thing about those two Elizas. The first Eliza died in January of 1744, and 5 months later he marries another Eliza. So in May of the same year. So kind of a jerk move if you look at it, but again, it just depends on who you are. So with your spirit box, we don't get a whole lot of like multiple syllable words. So we're going to keep yours nice and simple. And it's actually going to be the same thing with yours, Andrew, because those two spirit boxes work the exact same way. The mansion's not here anymore. Ask what happened to it and when did that happen. So again, we're looking for a very specific date. So when that does occur. I think that covers all of the communication devices. So I actually have to work with Steven for just a few minutes to kind of show him how to use that motion sensor a little bit further. The rest of you are going to be bouncing around, bless you. Have we had any lights come up on yours, Kenzie? At all?
Yet.
Nothing. Interesting. Very interesting that we've had absolutely no come out of both of yours. So normally we have something going on already. All right, we're going to spread out, but obviously stay away from vehicles. Please don't go in between vehicles either. Bless you again. But I'm going to work with Steven and then start bouncing around with all of you. Again, if there was another set of questions that interested you, by all means. You're all asking questions. The answers can go anywhere. So you might be asking a question, but Nick over there might actually get the answer. That's why we use so many different types of communication devices, because it can literally go anywhere. So have some fun with it. I'm going to be with all of you in just a minute. So, Steven. Yes. All right. Get you all ramped up. Get you excited about something.
ELP.
So I'm supposed to ask what her initials are. What are your initials? Eliza? Dear Eliza? These letters mean. Look at all these letters mean.
I see why I got this, don't you?
Why?
Because I don't talk.
Eliza, what does your last name start with?
Oops.
What does your middle name start with? Eliza, are you? You're so stupid.
He's recording it.
Can you tell me your initials? Did that scare you?
Those are your wife-in-law's initials. T yet?
I don't think so. I mean, the first two letters are EL, but I don't see a P on here.
Well, get her to say P.
What does your last name start with?
Alright, where's Nick? Nick. Alright, Nick.
You got P yet?
No. I don't really get how this thing works.
Elijah. Oh, daddy.
You're so silly. What if it said CER?
That'd be cool, wouldn't it?
What does your
Oh my
first name
gosh, there's
start
Elijah
with?
right there.
Huh?
There's Elijah right there.
Elijah. Why do you keep saying Elijah?
What's her name?
Eliza.
Eliza. Eliza. She might have sex. Oh no, this one is.
That one is?
Oh no.
Alright.
Does this record sound?
Yes.
Oh no.
Gosh, you're going to hear all kinds of stuff. Okay.
All the way there. So anytime I say let's clear this lane, I'm going to take this dial and turn it counterclockwise. And then just go back to 9. And it'll actually clear this lane. This is the sensor.
Why are y'all black over there?
Anytime he gets a number, you should have some kind of letter stop, because that's an EMF spike. That's the only way that this is stopping those letters.
Is there a timestamp on when the letter?
That's why I manually record. Like if you have a full, spelling of something or initials, that's why I manually record it for the location we're in.
Okay.
So when you get your notes back tomorrow, you're going to see Pinckney Mansion site and all of the little things that are going on that don't normally record. So that way you can kind of see the notes based on whatever I find in my spot. Everybody watch the vehicle. So again, your analysis report coming back to you is going to be pretty lengthy. Because again, you're going to have everything. So not to mention all of the notes I'm writing down, and if there's links to be provided, I need to look at why something's relevant. So the number 11 would actually be relevant here, but I'm not convinced that that was the correct spelling unless we get obviously another 11 somewhere or another part of that page you're kind of looking for. So again, it should have a close, like 11, and then there was a YN in there, I think it was. But again, I'm not super convinced on it yet. I want to see what else is going to happen.
Okay.
So kind of keep that in the back of your brain.
All right.
All right, help me what I'm looking for.
All right, so we're going to unmute you first. Yes. There you go. There's only one button right here.
Yeah.
No, right here, right where my finger is.
He said it could spell out words, initials. He said the first time I used it, it spelled out Eliza
So
with a use in the middle in the word somewhere, but it spelled out the name Eliza.
It's going through all the different radio stations. So when it takes out the static, you're hopefully only going to hear song lyrics, movies, and commercials, meaning voices.
Am I supposed to actually
Now,
ask
this
it
device
questions?
only gives us about 10 to 12
Yeah, no,
terms
not
in its
that.
world time.
You're asking-
You just never know when they're going to pop
This
up.
out
I
here.
will tell you that this is probably the most accurate spirit box I have out here. So this thing is normally about 75% accurate. So whenever if you can make something out of it that makes sense, that's why I like giving it
Can you ask
parents
some
or
questions?
couples, especially with somebody that's not listening to something, so she can actually help you out with this. So that way you guys will be working together. So later on we're going to be discussing pirates. Okay? And the second or third night I was using this because it's relatively important. I'm packing things up. The person used it actually pirate, plain as day. All heard it. However, the person with the thermal imaging camera was still recording, so we had the audio on that piece as well. That's the only thing that we pretty much heard out of that device the entire night. It was one word. It was plain as day.
He's probably not gonna like me. I asked Elijah some those questions.
Song lyric, it goes. It sounds like you have something to tell me.
Right.
Yeah, he said he don't listen to the recording. So
Right.
that's good.
Right.
Mm.
This is getting too red. He's gonna know.
Yeah.
Right. We're shot down.
We actually came here on our honeymoon in 2000.
Okay, that's good.
And then we came back. First time we've been back.
Get out of here. Really?
We're camping over at the KOA in
Mount Pleasant?
Mount Pleasant.
Nice, yeah.
We travel. We camp a lot.
That was one of the places that so I visited here when I was like 10 years old. 11 years old, my buddy. I remember going to that KOA out there, and I was like, man, this is middle of nowhere. Like, where are we at? And then when I moved down here, I got a job in Park West, across the street. And I'm like, is that the same KOA? I was like, it's in the middle of like everything now. You know, like, he's in the middle of nowhere. Yeah.
Basically, right. Yeah, it's like a walkie-talkie.
Lexington, huh?
Yeah. You guys been out there before?
I've been through Lexington one time. We've got some work coming up in Louisville
Okay.
in 2 weeks. But,
What do you do for a living?
we rate precast concrete, like parking decks,
Nice. Just
facades on buildings and stuff like that. We do a lot of stadiums.
good money. Yeah.
We the cranes actually come out of Lexington from Winsbell.
Really? Link belt? Yeah.
Yeah, it's been good on the tail end of it.
Yeah. When you guys head back to Atlanta?
Sunday.
Sunday. How long you guys stay down for?
We came Wednesday night.
Mm-hmm.
Got here about 9 o'clock.
The best time of year. Well, you guys came on Cold Street too, so I bet it's like, oh, it's nice.
Yeah, it's nice. It was actually cool at the house. It was 34 one day. Tuesday and Wednesday it was 34. I don't like that. I like being hot.
Right, do you? They'll say that you would enjoy
I like cold.
most October.
I love it cold. Yeah, that's good. I like
See, I like
50s.
90s and 100s.
Do you?
I hate being cold. Now, are you from Lexington or from here?
I'm from Virginia,
Virginia.
so Southwest Virginia.
We went to, where we go to skiing at?
Winter.
Winter
Green.
Place
Winter
or Winter
Green.
Park?
Oh, yeah.
Winter Green.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
So we asked the lady at the ski rental place we rented off the site, and we said, when's it going to snow? She said it hasn't snowed here in 25 years.
I
Never snows there. They just have snow.
Where's the snow
blowing
roll
machine.
place?
yeah. No, that's true because we always do snowshoe, not winter green. Because winter green,
Well, that's
it's
where we
always
were
the
going
fake,
next,
The fake
with
snow.
snowshoe.
Snowshoe's oh, it's so fun. I love it up there.
Especially in West Virginia.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's not very far away, was
It's
it?
not. It was. I think I used to go there a lot in college. It was like a 3.5 hour drive. And it was.
Yeah, that was funny when
love
she
it.
said it hadn't snowed in 25 years.
I believe it. 'Cause no, yeah. We never went to winter green.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was fun. We had a good time.
Oh yeah, it's snow. It's snow or snow. Yeah, exactly.
Charleston's a neat place.
It is.
I came here one time with my parents. I was young, and we took the boat out to Fort Sumter.
Nice.
So guess what? There's a bomb on Fort Sumter and a bomb on the ferry boat.
Well,
Get out of here.
I won't go back out there.
So he's.
We were standing like literally in the water as far away from the building. We stood there for like 5 hours until they cleared everything. I'm not going back out there.
Yeah, happens all the time. I used to work construction usually a trainer, personal trainer. And during the pandemic, you had to find a different job, right? So I worked for my buddy's construction company. And so they do stuff out at Sullivan's Island all the time. Every day, I mean, they come upon, you know, an old cannonball. They stop everything.
Cannonball.
Bomb squad has to come in. It's just like...
That's what they said on that history tour we did today, that they're constantly finding
Oh, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
All the
stuff.
Yeah.
All the time.
Oh, wow.
But it's cool. There's a lot of history, a lot of good stuff.
It is.
It's just hot.
I'm sure it's hot.
Yeah. Well, they is too, right?
Yeah. This summer wasn't too bad. Last summer was really bad.
I've just heard that Atlanta's getting like worse
Traffic and stuff.
with like crime and stuff like that. I heard like Atlanta's
It
getting worse.
is.
and
It's
worse.
every day on the news in the morning. Somebody got shot. It's probably not as bad as
What's it like
Chicago.
Buckhead,
but
Buckhead
Oh,
area
I
and
just got
stuff?
back from
Buckhead,
Chicago
like,
the other
really
week, and
bad.
I've
Yeah.
never. I'm like, oh.
what you hear a lot is like people are killing kids. Yeah, I mean they're getting caught in the crossfire. These 3 or 4 kids.
Was it
were
gangs
weak.
or something? Or
Ex-husbands, whatever. Just
yeah.
it's crazy.
Is that y'all's like forever home or what? We got to think about moving?
Yes, we're never moving. Never again.
I guess we're not moving.
No, that,
I'm gonna be buried there. We got 5 acres, and in the county we live in, if you got 2 acres, you can be buried.
Yeah.
right.
For sure.
That's awesome.
If my son isn't too lazy where he can get out and dig a hole, he can throw me in it.
Yeah.
Kids today are lazy. He's
All right.
20. We got 5 kids.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
No, you all born and raised like in that area? Or? Yeah.
No, I'm from Alabama.
Alabama originally. Nice.
Why did you tell him that? I told you to quit telling him.
I'm not ashamed of that.
All right, Ouija lady, what do you got going on?
I
Anything
don't,
crazy?
I don't see a whole lot going on. Z, it's an Eliza, but
Weak. I don't even see initials out of that. Nick, you got anything coming out of yours?
Yeah. I had a hello one time. That was
Hello, one time.
yeah,
Now
welcome to
Jackson
I had like a
was
welcome to
the
Charles
one
type
we
thing
picked
one
up
time.
Any colors coming out of yours?
Orange is as far as it's went.
Clay, anything in real time? All right. We don't have anything specific that I'm excited about. We had a possible 11, but we had a small EMF spike, which does not make me very excited, just because it was so small for this normal space. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull us off to the back of where we originally started, go over those answers. Again, I don't like to waste time if nothing's really going on. I'm not that guy, so I'm not going like, let's spend 2 hours here. Like, no, we're not going to do that. All right, so Janice and Steven, come on back, guys. We're going to get the answers going on.
So, all right, y'all, here we go.
And that's what you're going to get most of the night. When you do get a word, it's exciting because, like I said, that device is about 75% accurate. So you need to get pretty excited about that. The reason why I bring this back so early, I'm cutting it short on this one because not a whole lot's going on. I mean, you're hearing a lot of things, so good on you for getting the gist of how to listen to it, but nothing for me that is super specific enough to actually say we have something going on. What do we have now? Yeah, you have to remember that app is meant to try to scare people. So anything that says Satan or exercise, that kind of mentality, I usually throw that stuff away. Like, again, 80% is going to be garbage. So what I want to talk about first is the EMF spikes. You had it go all the way to 13.8, which was an exact number. Kenzie got hers up to about a 10. So what do those numbers actually mean? Let's kind of put this in relative space around your home. If you were to put, by the way, those of you with video cameras, if you want to stop recording, to kind of give your hands a break, you can do that. So for you, Jay, that's going to be the button on top of the camera all the way to the where the original Charlestown wall used to be. Charleston used to be called Charlestown, the walled city. You're standing on one of the first streets we ever had. Now, the cool thing is I have the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived down here. It's not a very lengthy list. Don't be too impressed. Normally, you guys would tell me the same 2 names every 6 to 7 weeks, like if it's on a loop kind of mentality. Right now, we're on week 2 of that 6 to 7 week loop. I was not expecting those names, but I never know. Those 2 names were Benjamin and John. Benjamin and John both lived here at the same time. John, there were 4 different Johns that lived down here over a 60-year time span, so John likes to give us his last name as well. His mother was evil and named him John Johnson. So this young lady, she's got normally they come through and because this is all connected to the same company, so I thought they were going to pass through us again. But anyway, John, Johnson, and Benjamin usually show up in the same night during that 6 to 7 week part of the loop. Every once in a while we'll get a third name. The name is Jane. That's a third person out of 5 And by the way, you don't hear the name Jane too often anymore. So 3 people out of 5 in the same alley. I don't call it coincidence, especially when it keeps coming up on an exact loop. I just started gauging all the weather and moon phases and all that mess about a month and a half ago, so I can try to pinpoint this a little bit further. So it will be at the top of your data set tomorrow morning. We do capture a lot of orbs down here, but I also want to explain, I have nothing, excuse us. So I don't have a whole lot of information about Benjamin and John, other than the fact that they lived here at the same time, but I do have an idea of why it's actually occurring. The bricks you're standing on. These bricks have been here since 1739 that we know of. So it's inaccurate. So again, it's rough. But at the same 1739. Now, these bricks are called Belgian blocks, and they're made out of granite. We're dealing with the stone tape theory here. Here's how this works. Any natural rock or any earthly material that's been in the same space for a long period of time is said to hang on to the memories of the things that occurred there, which is why I believe we're getting things here on a residual loop that keeps happening over and over and over again. Don't mind the theatrics, guys. Like, that's just a normal thing with other tours. I see like clapping and doing sweet hollering. But at any rate, these bricks are not supposed to have an electrical charge to them because they're made out of granite. Granite does not hold an electrical charge. So Stephen and Kenzie, by all means, pick a brick, set your device down, let me know, like literally put it on the ground and let me know if you get any numbers out of it whatsoever. Turn that motion sensor on. So you have a steady. So here's a steady, so it's probably coming from something man-made. What do you have going on? Okay. I would expect up to a 1.1 because that's natural from the earth. So the fact that you have a 4, let's try another brick. Keep climbing. Now we're down to 2.5, 2.6, 2.7, 2.7. And then you got a pretty steady, like it's jittering a little bit, I can see.
5-0.
This brick something.
So try the opposite side of the center. Opposite side. So kind of where Jay's standing over there, like almost like by his feet. I want to see like how far away. So we still have the same reading?
6-0.
6.
6-2.
6. We'll leave it there for a minute. Let's see if it climbs all the way up. That's. I've seen it go as high as 15 in this location. Like that's pretty high for this spot. And again, we're on week 2, so I wasn't really expecting much out of this. But yours is jittering over there, which is a good sign. Like it's not staying super steady, and it's not in a rhythm or a pattern. So you're getting a higher volt every once in a while. What number are you at now?
6.3.
Has it gone above that before?
6.4.
Okay. Oh, so we're going to let it sit as I kind of go over the next part. Let me know if it goes above 6.5. Now, the other piece of this location, the reason why it's named Lodge Alley, this is because the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge here. So, at times, you guys will hear the term Illuminati on your spirit boxes as we're walking in before you know anything about the Freemasons in this location. The funny thing is who the hell's talking about the Illuminati on the radio? That's my first question. Second, why are we only hearing it here? Again, kind of a weird coincidence. I verified every one of them that it's occurred because it is such a weird term to hear on a radio station. And again, 6 times last year, 3 times this year. So these are things I can't make up. We'll also get terms like founding fathers, again, symbols, Mason, anything relative to Freemasonry. I'm not going to go into conspiracy theories with you guys because we're on a ghost hunt. But again, it is a funny occurrence that actually pops up. By the way, have you had any weird terms show up while we've been here? Along the way? Okay. He didn't speak up, so I didn't mean to bypass him. How high have we gotten on that guy?
6.5.
6.5 was the highest you had figured out. That's probably
I saw 6.6.
You saw 6.6?
Wow.
6.6.
So I'll take 6.6. Like that's definitely a decent number for this location. That would not be an exciting number for the Pinckney Magic Site. Just so you guys know, every location has its own different base. Now, the next place that we're going to is another alley. However, I can't take you all the way through it like what we're doing now. Again, this is a very quick stop because this is not a space where we stop and ask questions. The next space is kind of a staple for Charleston, but I've been booted out of the one side of it because it is considered residential. You guys have all the blinky lights and the noisemakers, which is part of the reason why we use earbuds with everything now. Not to mention it makes things a lot easier in real time. But we're going to sneak in on the one side and we're going to kind of find our spot because again, it is kind of a staple for any type of ghost tour. Every local probably knows this. Nick and Kenzie over there have probably heard this story 1,000 times. We're going to talk about the doctor, if you guys know that story. Of course, I'm going to tell it a little bit differently, just just because we're ghost hunting. You need different details. It's not a campfire ghost story. But the other piece of this is I'm also going to tell you how I got booted out of there because it is relevant to our last stop that we're going to, and I'm going to tell you why once we get there. So continue listening in on your spirit boxes. Because that tour is still at the end here, I'm going to ask that the video cameras will stop at this point. I'm going to be watching them very closely to see if any orbs or any kind of polar anomalies are passing through. I caught quite a few orbs in this location. That's exactly what your camera does. And again, I can debunk all the insects that are flying by that everybody says, that was an orb. Like, no, it wasn't. It was a bug. So, any other questions about a weird location? It does get a little bit more rocky as we kind of get to the end of this location. Okay, so, we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood to get to the next space. So that's why we stop the recordings at the end of this alley anyway. So kind of keep that in mind. All right, let's go to another crazy alley.
There's nothing black.
He said quit recording it.
Huh.
Yeah, he said quit.
All right. He's moving down here because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She's an attorney, helping her out with all of this cash. The attorney thinks that the doctor is just after Amanda's money, so he tells Amanda, get rid of this doctor. Dr. Ladd moves to Charleston, which, by the way, his name is Joseph Brown Ladd. So who heard Joe?
Me.
Yeah, well, we were over there. So
Right when I turned the corner. Exactly.
So I'm waiting to see if something else is going to come up to kind of verify that. But Joseph Brown Ladd, he moves, as he's coming down, he comes down here to prove that he's not after Amanda's money. So that was the whole point of him moving here. The coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed. So he had a gunman inside of where this guy was going to be living, and he was going to kill him and take all of his money. But somebody was walking by, seeing everything that was going on, and he knew the guy, the coachman, that set him up. That guy who saw everything was named Ralph Isaacs, R.I. Now, we have two initials, R.I. We do get it. Before we even had the Ouija board, it was showing up on other spirit boxes, which is part of the main interest of me saying we can get initials on this thing too. So, Ralph tells the doctor, you don't want to stay here, man. I know this guy. He's going to try to kill you. I got some friends at 59 Church Street. You can rent a room from them and you'll be safe. Dr. Ladd takes him up on the offer, and the two guys become friends. The longer the doctor's here in Charleston, the more money he's making, proving his point that he wasn't just after Amanda's money. Amanda's moving down soon so they can finally get married. Dr. Ladd becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. I'm going to tell you right now that every haunted city that you're ever going to visit has a cliched whistling ghost. Now, we're going to talk about the evidence from this place, but let me continue what goes on with this location. So we're going to let these folks pass through. We're going to split the seats. Oh, you're good. I seen you creeping up on us.
Thank
We're hoping to hear the gunshot.
Oh, yeah. Now, Ralph and the doctor, they go to see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other. The doctor makes more money, so he gets better seats. So they talk about these plays on the way home. They go see Richard III one night from Shakespeare, and they're arguing over the new actress that was here in town. I don't know which actress. I dove into this. I can't find it. But anyway, Dr. Ladd thought she was fantastic. Ralph, not so much. The argument gets even heavier when Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée back home in Rhode Island. Obviously gets very ugly, and they go their separate ways. I told you Ralph has a lot of friends here. He goes to his friends at the newspaper and puts an ad in the paper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. Kind of a disgrace to society kind of mentality. Dr. Ladd sees the ad, rebuttals with, let's go to Dueler's Alley. We're going to settle this shit once and for all. He probably didn't say settle this shit because it was 1786, just so everybody knows. So they come down here, they take their 10 paces, they turn, the doctor pointed his gun in the air, and he shot. He did not want to kill his friend, which is often what happened at a duel, by the way. There wasn't always a loser. But Ralph, he has his one bullet, and he puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. Dr. Ladd drops to the ground. His friends pick him up, carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. We're going to let this gentleman pass through. Excuse us. Part of the reason why he refused that medical treatment, you have to remember this guy's a doctor. He probably tried to bleed out this bullet himself. Now, there are different versions of this story that say that the second best doctor came in and tried to help him out, that kind of thing. The campfire ghost story part of this is that as you walk through here, you obviously just heard those two young ladies say that they were looking for the gunshot. I have no evidence of a gunshot down here. However, they also say you could hear the whistles from the doctor. If you're going to go through this whole alley without me and try to use your voice recorders from your phones, keep in mind every local knows this story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland or Queen Street on this side is going to throw a whistle down the alley. I do it every single night. We end over there, my garage is over there. So I have to pass the alley, and I always throw a whistle down the alley to kind of throw off all the other tours. So we all do. It's just one of those things. But you also have a voice recorder that I'm using, and you guys are all using earbuds. Do you hear how quiet it is right now? It is like this on a Saturday afternoon in this alley. I don't know why, but it is always this quiet. Again, it is one of the most beautiful, picturesque places we have in all of Charleston. I don't care how many pictures of Rainbow Row are on Instagram, this is one of my favorites. So if you're a picture taker, day or night, this place is gorgeous. So here's how I got booted out of here. This is the fun part, everybody. So, any neighbors put nearby? Good. So, this alley didn't always go all the way through. It was actually used for livestock, so it actually stopped just past here. So there was livestock in here for the city, which means the bricks on the other side are older. Those bricks are sun-dried bricks from slave children, which means they had to turn them every hour to bake them in the sun. There's a full handprint at the end of this alley in one of those bricks and fingerprint swipes, and I'd always point them out because I'm sure you guys all figured out by now I'm all about history. Without that history, we don't know how far we've come. However, everybody wants to stop and get a reading from that damn brick. I treat that brick the same way I do a grave. That kid's not staring at the brick in the afterlife. You're not going to get anything from it. However, November 26th of 2020, yes, a very specific date, I'm getting to it. My entire group of 10, just like this, is huddled around one brick, waiting for something to happen. I'm trying to shoo them along because it's outside the dining room window of the beautiful mansion at the end of the alley, and we're out of bounds for being a tour. The new mansion owner came out screaming. My daughter thought it was great because Dad's getting yelled at. She was on the tour that night. And we moved on. The next day was Thanksgiving. I didn't have a tour. I worked in retail management for over 20 years, mainly for Walmart. I'm sure most of you can understand why I'm never, ever going to work Thanksgiving ever again. Yeah. Kudos to that, right? So, I own the business. I can do what I want. So the next day was November 28th. Very specific date again. I get a phone call asking me to go down halfway, like everybody else, or to reroute my group. Because again, that route was out of bounds. I decided it wasn't fair for my group of 10 to try to work around 20 to 60 people that are occasionally down here, and I was going to tell the story outside the alley and reroute. My group was fine with it that night, but I told them I didn't even believe in the story that we were about to go find because I'd never found anything there before, and we were going to be investigating pirates. I'm not a pirate person, I'm a vampire guy, so I wasn't really into it, right? So before we left, somebody hears the name Anne. I did not tell these folks that we were going to be investigating Anne Bonny, the famous female pirate. So I went, oh shit, maybe something's actually going to happen. We get down there, I told what little bit I did know about piracy, because I had to do some research really fast. I had a full group. Somebody else hears the number 300, and I have no idea what that means. So I'm doing the research the next day. We were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. So I was damn it, now I gotta read about pirates. So I have read more books on piracy, trying to put together a factual piece of investigation out of pirate lore. Be thankful I have a master's degree in creative writing, because everything we're about to talk about tonight on the next location is based out of more than one resource. This is not word of mouth from one specific resource. So again, trying to find factual information, very difficult to do with pirate lore. However, worst case scenario, because it is a hit or miss location, we're either going to have a lot going on or absolutely nothing. Hopefully it's not another Pinckney Mansion site for us over there. But you're going to learn a lot about pirates that you guys never even thought of about before, and it is kind of a crazy story. So, anybody get anything weird, or were you all focused on me? Because you guys are all like laser focused on me right now, which is kind of cool, but at the same time you're probably missing things. Do you have anything going on with yours?
No RI.
Anything going on with yours? Word row? Can I see your word list real quick? I haven't looked at it in a minute. Indian. With ship. That was kind of a little bit a while ago, huh? Lights. Interesting. Before we leave this space.
Here's a message. As soon as I turned up the volume.
Before we leave the space, the gate behind me, I like to point out that this gate, not many people know why it's there. Keep in mind that this alley didn't go all the way through. So, in the event there was a loser to one of those duels that occurred down here, this was a shortcut to get over to St. Philip's Cemetery. There's a courtyard behind me, but the cemetery is literally right over there. Otherwise, they'd have to go all the way down to the end of Queen Street and come back down and around with a dead body. And who the hell wants to do that when you're trying to go get a pint to celebrate the winner? So, not many people know why that gate's here. Obviously, the wrought iron wasn't there. It was just an open doorway to get over there. A lot of, it's not a, what is that, an easement at this point? Like, it's different property lines at this point. Yeah, so we're going to go up and around the corner. We're going to be in a very popular corner of other ghost tours again. We will pick our spot and kind of go through our piracy deal, depending on like what you guys actually hear along the way. There's all kinds of stories on that corner, and I kind of go off the cuff if I need to. So we'll kind of see what happens, and let's go up and around the corner. If you want to continue with your video recording, by all means, keep them running if you'd like. Again, we're going to be around a bunch of other tours anyway. So, any crazy spikes come out of yours, by the way? No. I had one a few weeks ago, and I haven't seen it since. It was like an 8.9 or 9.1, something under 10. Anything crazy with yours, Kenzie?
No,
nothing. So how many pictures have you taken for us? Has it been like 4 or 5?
He stole it from me.
He stole it.
She was slacking, bro. So
slacking. It's okay. We'll see what comes up out of them.
He's on it.
All right, let's go to. Oh, Andrew, did you have something?
Yeah, I just heard they'll probably be just fine. It was like a long sentence.
Well, here's a message, and they'll be just fine. I like that one. That works. Very vague stuff, but it's correct. We'll take it.
Saturday, November.
So he's hearing voices.
I don't know what they're
Think they hit him.
That's actually really cool. Like, that gets me stuck. Normally we get his birthday, not a death date.
It's all up there.
Sometimes that happens. We get the exact thing. I got them all written down. Anybody else hear anything?
I just heard now there's some distance when we were, that was like over at the intersection.
Anything else come out? You got anything on your word list at all? Showed up along the way here?
Just
Nothing.
row.
Just row, still. All right, so we're gonna definitely keep clear of that vehicle. So come in a little bit closer. Obviously, you guys can see the ghost tours are everywhere. This is Grand Central Station for ghost tours. So we are gonna cover why all the ghost tours go across the street, which is over at St. Philip's Church, just because, again, another staple, and it is their big finale because it's their one show and tell. And I kind of let them have it. Again, you guys are playing with crazy gear. I don't need to interrupt all their work that they're doing over there. And I make it very, very brief. So, first off, you need to know that there's two different sides to St. Philip's Cemetery. Behind me would be the western side, and then obviously this is going to be the eastern side across the street. So, if you're from Charleston, meaning you're a native, and you belong to that church, you can be buried next to the church on the eastern side. If you're not, you go behind me on the western side. Your 7th Vice President, John Calhoun, is behind me. They didn't know which way he was supposed to go, so they moved his sarcophagus several times trying to figure out which side he belonged to. Turns out he just lived here a long time. He's not actually from here. But that side behind me is usually open during the daytime if you want to walk one of our cemeteries. It is one that is usually open until dusk. So they're all across the street because there's a sign right inside that cemetery that reads, "There's no ghost here but the Holy Ghost." There's a reason for it. Bless you. That sign is there because in 1888, a young lady died by the name of Sue Howard Hardy. Now, we talked about initials earlier. It's cheesy, it's campy. I hate telling you, but it does show up on my ghost hunts all the time. SHH, Sue Howard Hardy. Shh. Another reason why we have initials. I hate telling you guys this, but again, we see it, we hear it all the time. She dies 6 days after her stillborn child. So it's a very sad, quick, abrupt story. But in 1987, a local photographer was taking pictures of all of our cemeteries, putting a book together, and they captured the full apparition in one of his photographs. It's a pretty famous photo for, the paranormal field. But he sent it to Kodak because it's 1987. He doesn't know what to do with it. I don't think I'd explain what Kodak is to this group. That's kind of cool. Most kids think it's a damn bear. But at any rate, so Kodak just authenticates the picture that it came from the type of camera that he said it did, and that it was not altered in any way. What the other ghost stories won't tell you is that this picture is cursed. Any female that handles it in a digital format, even the tablet or phone, is said to get the same symptoms we talked about at the beginning: the headache, the nausea, the dizziness. Pregnant females are probably not going to have a good pregnancy based on the gist of the stillborn baby in the story. Now, this is what I do for a living, guys. I'm going to ask you, because, again, I don't know who's here on vacation, and 9 months later, I'm going to be cursing your family. Don't touch my damn tablet when I go around the horn to show you the picture, because I will go 2 by 2, so everybody can kind of see what goes on with that specific, photograph over there, and I will zoom in on it. So, again, I make this one very brief just because, you're going to hear it from another tour if you go on another ghost tour anyway. So we'll start on this side. So this is the full picture that he took. Your apparition is right here. You're looking at a woman praying over her own grave with a baby basket next to her. You see the baby basket? Mm-hmm. It's usually the thing that people miss. This is probably another instance where the baby is buried with mom, because I cannot find any record of the baby being born or of their death. So I don't even know what gender. So a woman praying over her own grave, baby basket's next to her. So full photo. Shoulder to shoulder, head, and the baby basket. When you zoom in on the baby basket on a computer, you can see the weaving on the basket. It's pretty damn clear. So,
This is taken, what, 87?
1987, yep. See a woman praying over her own grave with the baby basket. So, in my line of work, this is in the top 50s of best apparitions caught. So again, it's pretty famous. That's why every ghost tour likes to talk about it. So I kind of laugh at it. We're here to talk about pirates, though. Let's kind of get into it. We're going to be discussing that little tiny building over there with the crosses on it. I will point out those are not crosses on that building. They're earthquake bolts. If you don't know what earthquake bolts are, basically they're turnbuckles. In the event we have another earthquake like what we did in 1886, yes, I know history can be very boring. Mm-hmm. I'm going to call out every yawn, by the way. So it's getting late. So they're turnbuckles. We have another earthquake, you tighten them up, it's supposed to straighten the building back up. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. The only reason I bring these up is because that's the first set of earthquake bolts that Charleston put in, because this is the oldest government building in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713, which is exactly why we're here. This building was being constructed at the same time that Anne Bonny came here to start her life. So, this is what I call a familiar. It's an intelligent ghost, but again, we have other buildings relatively close to this, but a familiar building is kind of like using a toy to attract a child ghost. It's the same type of principle. What was funny?
Michael Jackson, I always feel like somebody's watching me, so I just scream through.
I'm like, I know I didn't say anything funny. She must have heard something.
Sorry.
So, follow me, there's a lot of twists in this story. A young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormack. She comes here with her father and his mistress. The mistress turns out to be Anne's mother. Is everybody with me so far? I always slow down on this part because it can be very confusing. The three of them are running away from her father's angry wife. From Ireland to here. Yeah, how angry was she? Just point that out. They land in Georgetown. Dad bought a plantation. Mom died pretty quickly. That means he has to send young Anne down here to be able to sell anything from the plantation to keep things afloat. Again, hence why we're here. Now, Anne, back home in Ireland, was kind of a badass. They say she actually killed one of her servants when she was like 7, 8, 9 years old with a knife to the belly. So again, very specific clues, putting this mentality of this young lady in the back of your brains as we go through her history. Fast forward, the building's done in 1713. By 1715, pirates are coming through town. Anne is stoked. She's going to fall in love pretty quickly so she can get her freedom, just like a man. Yeah, that's how the way she was thinking. Guy number 1. Yes, we're going to keep tally. There's a handful. Guy number 1 turns out to be James Bonny. We already know where this one's going because you know we're talking about Anne Bonny. Her dad didn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. They ran away to Jamaica. They got married. You get it. But when you get down there, this guy is not Captain Jack Sparrow like she was hoping for. Like, he is not the dreadful pirate. So this guy turns out to be a privateer, which means he's a spy for the British. He's a coward in her eyes. So she falls in love again a few years later. Guy number 2. This is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. This is literally the person they based your Captain Jack Sparrow character off of. So this is exactly who she's looking for. He has his own ship. Anne wants to be part of it. You can't put a girl on a pirate crew. Does anybody know why? They're bad luck. I know most people think a little bit dirtier than that, but it's very simple. They're bad luck. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy, you could be part of the crew, but you're going to be a female in my quarters. She's okay with this cross-dressing because Dad back home in Ireland used to cross-dress her as a boy apprentice to keep her away from his wife. She knows it's a man's world. She's like, whatever, I'm a pirate, let's go. We're all adults here, put 2 and 2 together. She's a female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a girl. So Jack drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby over here. These are friends of mine that help you. Come back and we'll figure it out. She goes and has the baby, but returns with no baby. Can't find any research at all of what actually happened to this child, if they survived or not. When she comes back, she's also dressed like a female, which makes Jack pretty angry. Jack, while she was away, captured another pirate crew, and they're down below deck, and Anne's going to go flirting with that pirate crew to piss off Jack even further. So, now we have guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female, dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So, yeah, 2 females on the same ship trying to be males, pirates. Her name is Mary Reed. She went by Mark Reed to become a pirate. Her and Mary become friends, possibly lovers. We're really never going to know. But the British find out where they are. They send an entire fleet of ships to take down one pirate ship. Anne and Mary are the only 2 pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with their 1-bullet flintlocks because they probably don't know how to use the cannons yet. They haven't been pirates for very long. Obviously, 2 ladies are not going to take on a fleet of ships. So as they're being arrested, she looks at her captain, her beau, Calico Jack, and she says, "You should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog." The word dog shows up here a lot, by the way.
Oh no.
Yeah, this is what I get.
What do they say?
Oh, look, there's orbs.
There's what?
Orbs. Like
What's that?
balls of energy, like moving around, which is basically what Jay is trying to capture for us with a real camera. So this guy probably has an iPhone where you have that little teal dot that moves around with your phone that everybody thinks is an orb. No, they're not orbs. It's a flaw in the iPhone camera. But anyway, back to the pirates. The judge, his name is Nicholas as well. So if mine or Nick's name shows up, it's usually not relevant to me or him. It's going to be about the judge. He wants to see the 2 men that fought back so valiantly on their own. Calico Jack and the drunken pirates are already dead and gone. He's already hung them. Now, Anne and Mary go in front of the judge. They reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves. And he doesn't care that they're female. They're still pirates in his eyes. He's still going to hang them. "We plead our bellies" was the last thing they screamed out because you cannot hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It is illegal. So he sends them both back to jail and delays the hanging. Now, wow. I don't know what's going on over there. But anyway, that's going to be on your audio. Very good on you guys, right? So Dad is still up here in the Charleston area. He bails out Anne. He brings her back home. She remarries. That's husband number 2, but guy number 4, because we're going to count Mary Reed. She has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. Yes, very abrupt ending because we don't know much about her after her pirate career. Mary Reed dies a year later, 1721, in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Most books and articles will tell you that it was fever. I'm going to call bullshit. It was probably scurvious and nasty and gross and whatever else you guys want to come up with.
Syphilis.
Or that. That works too. Is that what you got on your word list? Oh, I thought we had a direct answer. I was like, damn, we got a good one. Now, again, this is Pirate Lore. You guys can ask whatever the hell you want to in here. I'm not going to hand out a whole series of questions. I'm only going to give you 2. Play with whatever you want to. But the questions I have for you are the names of Anne Bonny's parents. I did not tell you what those were. So I left that out purposely, so you'd have something to work with. I also left out the name of Calico Jack's ship. So that's an interesting one too. Stephen, with yours, you're going to be using the motion sensor in here, but you're going to be trying to ask Anne Bonny what her hair color is, and that you had the answer right there. It was you, but that was the answer. Vessel. I like that. That's cool. It's about time we got something on yours. We have the word vessel, everybody. I'm excited. Oh, by the way, we have the date of November 4th when we were coming out of Philadelphia Alley. I'm 98% sure that that was the death date of Dr. Joseph Brown Ladd. So she heard it direct November 4th with a Saturday on it. I'm going to be diving into the whole thing. Now, the other locations we can actually go to, those of you with cameras, if you want to go to the front of the powder magazine, you have to exit the lot, go in front of the bushes to your left, and you can get some footage over there if you'd like. The only thing I ask is you don't interrupt other tours. You can also go across the street this way to the cemetery and get some footage over there. Don't interrupt the other tours. Just remember that there's 2 cemeteries over there, so if you want to get some footage, we're going to know within 5 to 10 minutes here if there's anything actually going on. This is where you guys all know what you're doing by now. I'm not going to be bouncing around. I'm going to be waiting for you guys to come back and see me in 5 minutes by the wall to tell me what you've heard to see if we're going to wrap this up or keep going. So listen in on those spirit boxes. Again, lots of tours around here. Don't interrupt them. Let them tell their stories and move on. Let's have some fun at our last stop. Let's do this. Any crazy letters coming up on yours?
No. Let's see, I've got SVCIZBRMZZD.
Yeah, nothing. I would clear it and start fresh.
Okay. I got mom for work.
Hopefully that's not.
You go to that cemetery?
So what we're supposed to ask? What's the name of the ship?
Yeah.
And what's her father's name?
Yeah.
Seems like there'd be more stuff over there than.
There's a cemetery right here. Don't go over there and get beat up. You asking any questions?
What is your father's name?
Here you run. The tourists like that. Out and about.
What is the name of the ship that you were on? What is the name of the ship you were on?
Nothing.
It's a J. J. Should we go back? Walk back
Yes.
this way.
Excuse me.
What is your father's name?
What is your father's name?
Ann?
That was her name, right?
I didn't know if I saw anything or not. Did you? What is the name of the vessel?
What is the name of the ship?
Well, they're not going to talk to you anyway. They know you're mocking them. Huh?
It's been a while.
You talking to you?
Put some.
Triple A?
No, not yet.
So when I said, what's the name of your vessel, your ship, it was J. And what's the name of your father? It was H.
Just one letter?
Yeah. What does your father's name start with? I said H again. N, G, J. What is your father's name?
Nothing.
That was Mary Reed.
There's something laying right there. Some dead body right there. It's a spirit.
This is a lot. That's why we're recording.
Still black in that spot.
Mm-hmm.
The alleyway at South Carolina Blue.
I was gonna wrap this up over here.
Oh, okay.
Not knowing.
Really coming with a whole lot. Do you have anything coming up on yours?
Bunch of J.
Bunch of J's.
Uh-huh.
So we had James, the husband, then John Rackham, who nicknamed Jack. How many J's do you have?
There's been probably 5.
Yeah, because I don't know who the last husband's name was. Like after her pirate career, I don't know what his name was. Very interesting. A lot of J's showing up here. Who are we missing? I know the two. Anything
Those
crazy
two
going on over
ladies.
there?
That's too many people on that side,
Yeah.
so I went on this side.
Andrew, you got anything?
The only other word I've got is bridge.
Bridge. We have a radio station called The Bridge, so that's pretty common. Okay. All right. So 1, 2.
Those two ladies.
Yeah, they actually had to go.
Oh.
So apparently she had like a bathroom emergency she needed to go to. So she handed me her gear and they were off. All right, let's head over to the wall. We'll wrap this party up because you guys aren't really giving me a whole lot besides all
What
those.
does H? Does H mean anything?
Unless it's got an S in front of it and another one behind it, the SHH. Anybody hear any religious terms while we were over here? That's pretty common because of the church.
Yeah, I heard Holy Ghost actually.
Yes, sir. Energy.
It's just some voice said Holy Ghost.
I heard Holy Ghost over there.
You heard Holy
That's
Ghost?
all you heard.
Yeah, when we were over there.
And that's what the sign says over there.
Oh, does it?
There's no ghost over here but the Holy Ghost. That's over on that side.
Oh yeah.
That's what I call bleed over. So we will actually get terms over here from Philadelphia Alley that make complete sense. All right, so let's go.